We look at the red light in the night sky and see a sanctuary. We see a new beginning, a second chance for a species that has outgrown and outpolluted its cradle. We have been sold a vision of glass domes, futuristic cities, and the heroic taming of a new world. But space is not a frontier to be conquered. It is a clinical, indifferent void that punishes the arrogant. Mars is not a red rock star. It is a planetary-scale graveyard, a frozen, irradiated desert that has spent 4 billion years perfecting the art of killing anything that breathes. We have begun the march toward the red planet, fueled by the hubris of billionaires and the desperation of a dying Earth. But we are not moving toward a new home. We are moving toward a biological and psychological erasure. This is the chronicle of the Martian exodus, the moment humanity trades its soul for a cage of rust. Welcome to Discovered. To understand the nightmare, we must first look at the environment we so eagerly seek to inhabit. Mars welcomes you not with a handshake, but with a physical assault. The atmosphere is a toxic shroud, 96% carbon dioxide. To breathe the Martian air is to suffocate in an instant. The atmospheric pressure is less than 1% of Earth, as equivalent to standing on top of Mount Everest and then ascending another 20 miles into the blackness. Without a pressurized suit, the boiling point of your blood would drop to your body temperature. Your internal fluids would turn to gas, and your skin would swell until it ruptures. This is the Armstrong Limit, the invisible line where the human body becomes an anatomical catastrophe. But even within the safety of our metal tubes, we cannot escape the radiation. Mars has no global magnetic field, no shield to deflect the relentless bombardment of cosmic rays and solar particles. On Earth, we are protected by a thick magnetic cocoon. On Mars, you are a target. Every second you spend on the surface, high-energy particles are screaming through your body, shredding your DNA like microscopic shards of glass. This is not a space-tan. This is the systematic destruction of your genetic blueprint. Within months, the rate of cellular mutation would skyrocket. We would witness a surge in aggressive cancers that no medical technology on the planet could treat. We would be a colony of the terminally ill, hiding in holes in the ground, terrified of the very sun that gives us life. The gravity of Mars is perhaps the most insidious threat of all. At 38% of Earth's gravity, the diet we were promised is actually the slow dissolution of the human frame. Our skeletons are not static objects. They are dynamic tissues that require the constant stress of Earth's gravity to maintain their density. Without it, your bones begin to ghost the gym. They leach calcium into your bloodstream, turning your skeletal structure into something brittle and porous. Your muscles, no longer needed to fight the weight of a Fulgi environment, begin to wither. This is marshmallow mode, a state of total physical frailty where your heart, also a muscle, begins to shrink and weaken. As your body loses its structural integrity, the fluid shifts begin. On Earth, gravity pulls our blood toward our feet. On Mars, that blood pools in your head. Your face becomes a bloated red mask, a tomato with a PhD. But the pressure inside your skull does more than change your appearance. It presses against your optic nerves, flattening your eyeballs and blurring your vision. We would be a species of blind, brittle-boned shadows, trapped 55 million kilometers from the only world that can heal us. The psychological gallows of the Martian exodus is the realization of total isolation. On Earth, no matter how far you travel, you are under the same sky. On Mars, you are in an abyss. The light delay means there is no real-time communication. Every hello takes 20 minutes to reach home, and 20 minutes for the answer to return. There is no internet, no streaming, no syncing with the human collective. There is only the hum of the life support system and the crushing weight of the silence. Imagine looking through a reinforced porthole at a tiny, pale blue dot in the distance, the only home you have ever known, now reduced to a speck of light. This is Earth sickness, a psychological trauma that would shatter the mental health of the colonists. The claustrophobia of living in inflatable habitats, sealed tighter than a tomb, would lead to a surge in domestic violence, psychosis, and habitation fever. We are social animals evolved for wide-open spaces, for the smell of rain and the sound of wind in the trees. On Mars, the wind is a mountain-high wall of abrasive dust that screams at 100 miles per hour, but you can never feel it on your skin. To touch the Martian environment is to die. We would be prisoners of our own technology, one seal failure away from total liquidation. The social structure of a Martian colony would not be a minimalist paradise. It would be a total uncompromising tyranny of resources. When air, water, and heat are finite commodities, they are controlled by those with the power to turn the valves. We would see the rise of the oxygen cartels, a society where your right to breathe is tied to your productivity. Every drop of water you drink is recycled from your own sweat, your own tears, and the waste of your neighbors. This is the ultimate circular economy, a world where nothing is wasted because nothing can be afforded. The coffee you drink would taste like nostalgia and regret, a bitter reminder of a world that had rivers of water that were not filtered through a machine. What becomes of the children born in the dust? This is the most unsettling chapter of the Martian story. A child conceived and raised in 38% gravity would not be human. Their bones would be elongated and fragile. Their hearts would be too weak to ever survive the re-entry to Earth. They would be a new species, Homo Martians. They would be little Martians, bioengineered with extra melanin to resist the radiation. Their genes edited to survive a world that was never meant for them. They would look upon the humans from Earth as alien monsters, heavy and thick, while they themselves are spindly ghosts of the Red Desert. The divergence of the human race would begin on the floor of Valles Marineris. We would see the birth of a society that has no connection to the history of Earth. Their architecture would be futuristic bedrock, lava tubes, and subterranean caves where the light of the sun is a distant memory. Their weddings would be cheap, not out of choice, but out of a lack of materials, rose-colored bouquets of plastic and iron oxide cakes. They would live, die, and be buried in the same dust that eroded their ancestors. They would be a civilization of the dark, a race of subterranean scavengers living in the shadow of Olympus Mons, a volcano so massive it would swallow the Everests of their heritage. And what of the return? Some dream of coming back to Earth. But for the long-term colonist there is no return. Re-entry would be a death sentence. As the 1G gravity of Earth takes hold, your bones would rejoice for a moment before they shattered under the sudden weight. Your heart would scream as it tried to pump blood against a force it no longer remembers. Muscles would tear. Lungs would collapse. You would find that in seeking a new home, you have permanently exiled yourself from the only one you ever had. The existential dread would be the final stowaway on your journey, the realization that you have wrecked one planet and turned yourself into a mutant for the sake of a dead one. The methane puffs detected on the surface are not the signs of Martian cows. They are the gasping of a planet that is dead and cold. Scientists remain cautiously optimistic because it is their job to sell the dream. But the forensic evidence is clear. Mars is a world of dust devils, mini tornadoes that reach 5 kilometers into the sky, cleaning the surface of our footprints as fast as we can make them. Mars does not want us. It has already visited us in the form of over 300 meteorites that have crash-landed on Earth. Reminders of the violent, airless world they came from. They are hostess gifts from a graveyard. We are currently standing at the edge of the greatest mistake in human history. We are preparing to spend trillions of dollars and sacrifice thousands of lives to colonize a world that offers us nothing but a slow, irradiated death. We are running away from the problems of Earth, the landslides, the supervolcanoes, the earthquakes, only to find that Mars has chaos mode built into its very core. The crazy Martian checklist is a suicide note. Inflatable habitats, hydroponic rave gardening, and 3D printed toilet seats are the toys of a civilization that has lost its mind. We are bioengineering our own replacement, editing our melanin and our bone density to fit into a tube. We are trading the blue marble for a blue sunset, a sickly alien light that signals the end of our humanity. The discovery of the Donny Plume, the melting of the Antarctic ice, and the collapse of the mathematical scaffold of our world are all warnings, but the Martian exodus is the final act of surrender. It is the moment we admit that we would rather live like rats in a Martian lava tube than save the paradise we were born into. Sleep well, knowing that the red rock star is watching you from the dark. It is patient. It has been waiting for 4 billion years for a new source of organic matter to settle in its dust. The floor is thinner than you think, the distance is greater than you can imagine, and the red planet is not a home. It is a destination with no exits. If you are prepared to face the truths that the world chooses to ignore, stay with us. There are many more scientific anomalies and cosmic horrors waiting to be unburied. We will continue to explore the truths that have been hidden in the shadows of the stars and the depths of our own hubris. Subscribe to Discovered and activate the notification bell. In a world of comfortable delusions and crazy space dreams, we provide the cold clinical evidence of reality. Do not miss our next report, where we will examine the next impossible or almost possible scenario that threatens the very definition of humanity. See you in the next investigation. Remember, the dust is rising, and the end is red.